But this is going to be a very interesting spaces because I'm going to do multiple breakdowns. And in true brute de force fashion, I'm going to be hopscotching between topics. It's going to be it's going to resemble a food fight. It's going to be very messy. It's going to be very creative. It's going to be very chaotic. And the way I wanted to open this today was I wanted to give you an illustration of one of what I consider one of the most prolific, um, ingenious, industrious, and I venture to call it an athletic run, even though it's not sports related, because the mental athleticism that this individual opposed, imposed on his opponents, it's one of the most incredible fucking glory runs I've ever witnessed in my life. You know, you can cite championship runs across many different domains. You can plunge history and you can come up with many, many impressive feats. But the one that really stands out to me is the World Series of Poker run by Jamie Gold. And I'm telling you right now, if you consider yourself a scientist of the human mind and the human condition, and you have any intrigue or fascination with the human spirit, and just the overall understanding of life and how all these archways and passages of time kind of coalesce in these nexus points where people throw themselves into eras and the tactics that they use to succeed are perfectly fine-tuned for the era itself. Like a lot of these success stories, these explosive stars that just rise from nowhere, it's a lot of it's luck. I would say the vast majority of it is luck because they just happen to be in prime position. They happen to be in pole position at the apex of a particular era where those tactics could be used. Because look, here's what happens in life. People, humans are pirates by nature. Okay. Piracy has really been going on forever. And it's not just a software thing. Everybody is standing on the shoulders of giants. Everybody is jacking and repurposing and refurbishing other people's ideas. That's what humans do. That's what humans do. And piracy is a very complex topic that maybe one day we'll go into deeper because it's fascinating how humans borrow and lease, even down to linguistic structures. People lease other people's language, other people's terminology, other people's lexicons. And then these things basically get imprinted in society. So look, if you find time after this speech, you're going to have to go to YouTube and you're going to have to look at the highlight reel of Jamie Gold's run in the World Series of Poker, where it starts from day one and you watch this motherfucker steamroll. And when I say steamroll, you ain't ever seen a juggernaut on wheels like this guy. And look, this guy belies the reason I like this guy, the reason I love this story is because this guy belies all the conventional wisdom about physiognomy checks. He doesn't pass any of those tests. He doesn't pass any of the sniff tests. He's an unassuming, emaciated nerd, bespectacled. He's got fucking squirrely eyes, beady eyes, fucking wearing little fucking spectacles. Totally unassuming. Physiognomy would tell you nothing about the guy. He's a guy that in public, you would consider him an invisible entity. Okay? But this guy had zero talent for poker. He wasn't a technician. He wasn't a technical guy. He wasn't a math guy. He wasn't a numbers guy. Okay? He waltzes into the World Series of Poker and he antics his way into the championship. I want to say he won 12 million. It might be 8 million. I haven't fact checked it in a while, but I'm pretty sure he took down 12 million bucks. And at the time, I want to say it was the largest. It was the largest jackpot ever in a World Series of Poker championship. He won it all, took all the marbles. Okay, on sheer antics, not a gamer whatsoever. He went completely opposite of all the theoreticians, all the game solvers, and he walked. And when I tell you he walked the boulevard into the championship basically unobstructed through mind games, enticement, inducement, getting in motherfuckers' heads, speech, freedom of speech, just absolutely crawling into the amygdala of his opponents and holding a power position there and taking the crown seat and implanting himself so firmly in his opponent's head that he would basically entice you into making horrific decisions. And that's what he did the entire game. This dude, you'll see in the clips, he's brokering miniature deals at the fucking poker table, which is like the gray area rules that this dude bent is fucking genius. It's fucking genius because what he did is he corkscrewed every gray eminence, every gray rule that was not technically written, but he had no etiquette. You know what I mean? All etiquette was out the window. He had zero fucking etiquette. He played the game like a fucking predator and he exploited it exceptionally. Okay? Dude's literally brokering deals at the table with other players, saying if you fold 2 hands from now, I'll fucking go easy on you. Shit like that. Classic mercantilism. Mercantilism. Who the fuck introduces mercantilism into a game of poker? You know what I mean? It's completely refractory. It's completely just turn the game upside down. That's what he did. And he fucking walked his way into the championship. All off of antics, befuddling people, putting people through fucking mental torture systems. The metagame, the game inside the game. The game inside the game. He wasn't there to play poker. He was there to play the meta. You know what I mean? Head faking you, juking you, fucking pretending to make alliances with you and then fucking breaking the pact midway through. Just complete fucking mental psychological warfare. One of the greatest, most prolific examples you'll ever fucking witness in your life. And I do believe, correct me if I'm wrong, they actually had to revamp the championship rules after that run. Like, I believe the following year, they had to clamp down and introduce an entire host of amendments to the rules in order to shut that type of behavior down. And so that's why I tell you, this guy was hovering at the crest of an era where he was able to exploit that shit before they shut it down. So yet again, it's a classic example. And I've always said this, one of my favorite tweets, and this was a metaphor, but it's not so metaphoric. In theory, it is, but in practice, this is a true thing. I have always told you guys that every nerd has their chance at the pulpit. Every nerd eventually gets called up into the big leagues. Every male on earth has the opportunity to go on their glory run. Everyone has at least one. I venture to say you have a lot more in the chamber, but everyone does have at least one fucking glory run. And it just depends how well you comport yourself when you're blessed with that opportunity. Every man has it. You know what I'm saying? And the metaphor that I used to drive that point home was I said, every nerd has a chance to throw the spear at the emperor, right? That's a fact. Every nerd eventually gets to take a shot at the king, to dethrone the king. And that's what this guy did. That's what this guy did. And let me tell you something. This dude wasn't Sun Maxing. He wasn't eating steak and eggs. Nothing of the sort. He was a pasty, skinny fat motherfucker. But just a razor sharp mental game. And he fucking pulverized the competition with head games. You know, he was playing a different game. They were there to play cards. He wasn't. He wasn't. And you can see when you watch these clips, you can actually witness the power that this guy was fucking wielding. This power was incredible. It's palpable. It's something that you can see right off the bat. So you have to go watch Jamie Gold's run and just watch the kind of fucking fuckery that this dude was inflicting upon his opponents. Truly, truly an impressive feat. Now, the story that doesn't end so well. I actually, shortly after his run, I actually played in some big games with him in Ventura, California, at this little casino called Players Casino. And he pretty much ended up squandering like 90% of the fortune, and then he got stuck playing like low stakes game again. And I've been out of the poker game for a while. Like I haven't played. I used to play professional poker. I don't play anymore because I just don't like sitting in a fucking dungeon for 10 hours a day. I think it's fucking repulsive. But from what I understood, um, he squandered all his fortune and then was stuck playing these low games. And my understanding in the poker community is there is nothing more brutal than being able to play in these huge games and then having to go rake back and claw back and go start from the low stakes games again and build back up. That just sounds like a fucking gruesome experience. But you know, things have a funny way of ending exactly the way they begin. You know, that's like just a universal law of life, that everything has an uncanny way of concluding itself the exact way that it started. And I think that the authorship of that story 100% confirms that that's true. High highs, low lows.